Hello. Welcome back to another episode on Reddit Stories. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and leave a like. Let's get into the story now.
So my wife and I just celebrated our 6 years being married. 10 years together. And we have 2 children. We have not had the smoothest ride during our relationship. Some of which is my fault. Some is hers. And some is both of us. We are a strong couple when we are close and things are great. And other times we are weak. Anyways. As of recently /2 months. I've noticed small differences in her behavior. Timeline. And actions. For instance. She started having to stay late every day for work meetings. She's been getting home later and later, citing traffic as the reason. Which doesn't add up to me. Overly eager for me to do things without her. Excessively in the bathroom multiple times in a short period. Long walks with the dog in the cold. Which she never did before because she hates the cold. Going out with coworkers often. She never used to go out and now it's every week. Coming home late and not answering her phone. So anyways. Clearly I knew something was up. I asked her if there was something she needed to tell me and if there was someone else. So said no every time. And convincingly so. Even swore that she would never do that. I was highly upset and skeptical this past Friday. She went out with coworkers and the last call from her was at 8:10 p.m. She said she couldn't hear. But wanted to tell me she was okay. And hung up. I called and texted several times later that night and there was no response. She calls me at 3 a.m. and said she's sorry. Fell asleep at a friend's house. That didn't sit right with me at all. I felt something was wrong. Anyways. Fast forward to last night. I log into my phone account and immediately see all of these calls and texts from a number that belonged to Rochester. NY. I remember her telling me that her coworker was from Rochester, New York. And she was calling him every time she stepped out to walk the dog. After getting off the phone with me on her way home. And at 9:45 p.m. for 45 minutes that night that she didn't come home until 03:00. Boom, so I wake her up and confront her. She had a dumbfounded and shocked look on her face and lied right to my face. Even with me telling her that I know what's been going on and I know who it's with. Then she tells me. There was someone but there's not anymore and I called bullshit on that again. Finally I tell her who it is and her face dropped. She started apologizing profusely but I just can't accept it. She's hurt me terribly and I don't know what I'm going to do. Now she's telling me he was just a friend and an easy person to talk to. But with how many calls and texts there are. The timing. The days. And the lengths. I feel strongly in my core that it was way more than that and that they slept together. Please let me know your thoughts. Edit December 15th, 2021. Thanks so much to everyone with the overwhelming support. This is a very difficult time and while I am typically strong and sound-minded, I feel incredibly weak, vulnerable, and defeated. It's hard to hold back tears and to not descend into an ever downward spiraling hole of misery. You guys are keeping me afloat. Edit December 15th, 2021. Looking at the timeline of the call logs. There are many calls that come to her when she conveniently was away and available for a phone call. But no text to him. So I asked her how she knew how to call him. Snapchat. Fake number. Etc. And she denied and avoided the question like I was an idiot. Edit December 16th, 2021. Found call logs going back to September late at night with her calling a different guy that we both know. And as far as I knew, she never even had his number. My 33M wife 32F is getting closer to her male coworker on a 1.5-month business trip. I've been with my wife for 9 years. Married for 4. Some background. We were best friends in elementary school and reconnected after college. We have to make sure their day-to-day operations run smoothly. My wife and some people from her department were selected for the all-expense-paid business trip. We both knew the long distance was going to be a challenge for the family, so we made sure to Skype or call each other every day. She was hesitant about going on the trip, so I made sure to be really supportive and to be the best dad for our daughter. I rearranged my schedule to make this happen and this made it less stressful for my wife. Before she left, she even suggested we should try phone sex during her trip. I of course was all for it. A month in and everything was going well so far. Until a male coworker in her team found out his brother died. He left for one day for the funeral and came back to work immediately. I thought this was odd, but I didn't say anything. However, his brother's death really hit home for my wife because her brother passed away 3 years ago and it was really hard for her. So basically both of them are really close now. They bonded over their losses. I know that trauma really bonds people, and her spending a lot of time with another guy when I can't even see her is starting to get to me. Oh, and another thing. This guy has a crush on my wife. He drunkenly confessed and told her at their Christmas party. My wife told me at the party and we both laughed about it. That night I had my hands all over my wife and this was just making the guy angry, so he left the party. So when she told me a few days ago, they spent one night just talking about their brothers and her trying to comfort the guy. This did not sit well with me. I know this guy is waiting for the right moment to hit on my wife. I didn't want to tell her that this guy is eventually going to make a move on her because the timing is still sensitive, and plus it would probably make them closer. I ended the phone call letting her know our daughter and I miss her and you should try to take your mind off things and do something else. Well, things got worse. She didn't call on Friday, and on Saturday night she told me she went on a small road trip and the cellular connection was bad. Not sure if I believe that. I listened to her go on about where she went on the trip and sightseeing she did. Then she told me it was just her and the male coworker together on the trip, saying it was a good way for him to keep his mind off his brother. At this point I'm mad and told her, "Wow, sounds like you guys had a romantic date. Don't forget you have a daughter and husband." She got pissed and we argued for like an hour. I couldn't argue with her anymore, so I hung up on her. In the heat of the moment I texted her, "Look, if you're gonna sleep with this guy, just send me a text so I know our relationship is over." Hat was sent Saturday night and we still haven't talked to each other. At this point, I'm not sure what to think other than she's cheating. She knows this guy has a huge crush on her and going on a road trip together is a bad sign. Also, she's blocked me on Instagram so I can't see her photos anymore. Sorry this was long, just need a place to vent my frustrations. Story 3. Wives coworker in getting over the issue. So my wife had a male friend at work that ended up texting her while we were on our way to a football game where we were meeting him and a few other co-workers. He texted, "Hey," his nickname for her, "I brought you some beers." They both like to drink, he's an alcoholic. I was upset and confronted her and of course was told it's not like that. I then explained to her my issue with him to her and she listened, but then he texted her while we were on the couch a few months later. It was about work drama, but she proceeded to text him and say, "Stop texting me," which I saw. After that she was super protective over her phone and deleted all texts, not just his, but if you open the app it was blank. I thought this was an issue, so I brought it up. I don't ever go through her stuff until this started. I used to trust her like no other. Then she would say he wasn't at these little conventions they had for work, so I'd join her only to see him there. He wouldn't look at her or say anything. A few years ago she had a hotel party at a large hotel and of course she said he wasn't there. The day I arrived I saw him as he passed and he said hi to her mother while explaining last night's party was off the charts. My wife didn't talk to me after about 5 the night of the party, as I called and texted. I got nothing till the next morning. I confronted her about it and she got pissed. And said just because he's somewhere doesn't mean she spoke to him. So I'm supposed to believe she didn't speak to her friend at a 2-room hotel party with karaoke and all that. So I still have trust issues and we did counseling which helped me and I still want that trust back. The thing is I'll never know what happened that night and she's never backed down from her stance. I just can't believe they were not hanging out and why no call? I was watching our daughter. Also my wife is the type to always have to say goodnight no matter what. She seemed so off that day I showed up to the conference and her mom also was talking about how he was funny when they went to another conference her mom had attended. I never said anything or asked questions to her mom, I just was in disbelief. It makes me so sad thinking about that night and it's worse, I'll never know. She told me not to call him for the issue of him being stuck up and will start shit. So I never did. This was years ago. Nowadays I would for sure. I used to keep everything inside and never speak my mind. Now after cuncling I've been a lot better in life, being able to express myself. I'm at the point I want to put my hand on him for disrespecting me, and then I think she gave him her number. She let this happen. So I'm just stuck in this shit mood and I'm tired of it. I'm just looking for some advice or help. I'm scheduled for a therapist, at least I did that so I had someone to tell the story and explain things. She said sorry for the situation, but that she's not saying she's sorry for something she didn't do. It's just looks so black and white to me that there was an emotional and hopefully nothing else affair. Thank you for watching.